A special thanks to Tyler and Alex for your film and for joining us here today, and also thanks to Chelsea Rockman for joining us as well. And the film, so as I mentioned, by the way, so I'm going to ask a few questions, but Chris, if you put up your hand, and Andy, put up your hand. So they've got comment cards and question cards. If you've got a question, put up your hand, they'll circulate, and we're going to aim to get everyone's question answered. And we're aiming to be out of here by about 8:30. So, I first just want to talk about the problem of plastic pollution. So, I've read there will be more plastic than fish in our oceans by 2050. I've read a terrifying stat from Science that says the disease rate in coral goes from 4% to 89% if it's been in contact with plastic. Walk us through the specific problems, whether it's potential problems for human health, potential problems for coral, and the knock-on consequences for that. But what's the scope of the problem, I guess, if we want to start there?
Chelsea, I think you will, yeah.
Okay, so the scope of the problem, so I'll start global as opposed to local. So I would say that in the beginning we thought of plastic as this middle of the ocean problem, and we would go out in the middle of the ocean on trips like what you just saw, and we find plastic in every single sample. Now we know that it's not just the middle of the ocean, it's also on the coastlines, it's also in the rivers, we find it in our lakes, we find it in dust, we find it in drinking water, we find it in seafood. So the contamination is ubiquitous. When it comes to impacts, when it comes to things like the coral that you're talking about, fishing debris, there's no doubt that animals get entangled in this debris, that animals ingest this or eat this debris like big plastic bags, and that can be the cause of death. And when it comes to microplastics, we know that it's infiltrated every level of the food chain, and that it can cause impacts to individual animals. So obviously we're not going to sit out here and be doom and gloom, because there's a lot of good solutions, but the reality is that the contamination is real, it's global, and that it can indeed cause impacts, so those solutions are needed.
All right. And so in terms of solutions, there are some, I'm going to ask everyone to put up their hand at, well, let's start now actually. So who would support a ban or a tax on plastic bags? All right, so pretty much everyone. And this, all right, so let's start there then. So is that a plausible solution? And forget just bags, let's talk about single-use disposable plastics more broadly. Is this something that makes sense and that our government should be pursuing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's a really complicated issue because you say the word tax or ban, and that can raise a lot of alarms in certain people, and think that you're trying to control them or control their purchasing decisions. But I think that's sort of what we need, because it's the public education aspect of this is really important. But if we sit around and wait for everyone to get fully aware of the scope of the challenge and what's needed and the speed at which we need to tackle a lot of these things, I think we'll be just even further behind than we need to be. So it's important to be proactive, and I think that in some cases it has to be approached by a case-by-case basis, whether it's straws or bags or certain types of packaging. I think that it is really a case-by-case basis. So you can't just say outright, let's tax all single-use disposable plastics, but there are certain ones that are extremely problematic that need to be dealt with right away. So in one of our latest episodes of Big Leak, we talk a lot about flushable wipes, and that is one, sanitary wipes, they're allowed to be labeled flushable because there's no real guidelines on what can be labeled flushable. Like, you could label anything flushable technically if you can sit down your toilet. You could sell it as a flushable item. So it doesn't actually mean anything. But companies are allowed to get away with it because people like that idea. Oh, I can just get rid of it. It's something I'm going to use to wipe something disgusting, and I can get rid of it. But those are really problematic because we're being told to put plastic into the wastewater stream. We're not being told to put it in the garbage or put it in recycling. We're take plastic, put it in water directly. So those are the ones that I think require a more proactive approach, where you're saying, okay, maybe we need an outright ban, or we need to change the labeling guidelines, or we need a tax on this item, because if people want to use it, there's a cost to that. There's a direct cost to our wastewater recycling system. We pay $250 million a year in Canada just cleaning up garbage from wastewater treatment plants. And we have, wastewater, water infrastructure deficit that's running into the tens of billions of dollars right now. So, that's $250 million we're spending every year to clean up people's garbage. That $250 million should be going towards doing the repairs and, upkeep of our water infrastructure system. So,
and speaking of money,
yeah, I sort of went off on a tangent there, but those are the specific types of ones where you can say this one needs a more direct, fast approach with like types of taxes.